Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a
And
non-gamer.
we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at F.O.R.K by Sunrise Tomato Game Studios.
F.O.R.K, F-O-R-K, stands for Fox, Owl, Rabbit, Kale. And the kale is quite odd being in the mix of all the animals, but this is a trick-taking game that is coming to Kickstarter here in the near future. So check out that Kickstarter campaign link down in the description of this video after you watch it. And this is from designer Tate Wu. This is a trick-taking game in which there are some food chain elements at play here. The fox eats the owl and rabbit. The owl eats the rabbit. The rabbit eats the kale eats nothing because it's kale. But this is a game in which you're trying to win tricks, but you're also trying to eat the other animals to keep other players from winning tricks. Let me show you how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, so here's F.O.R.K, Fox, Owl, Rabbit, Kale on the table here. It is a food chain trick-taking game. I'll explain what that means here in just a second, but first I want to let you know everything you see in this portion of the video is prototype. The final artwork, components, and rules may be different once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, what you have in this game, you have a simple deck of cards, and those cards are going to come in 4 different suits. You have your swamps, your mountains, your deserts, and your Arctic area. And they're going to range in values between 1 and 8. And then you also have 6 fox cards, which are going to have a value of 9 on them. You do have a card here that helps you with setup. If you're playing a 4, 5, or 6 game, you're going to include all the cards in the game. But if you are only playing a 2 or 3 player game, you're going to remove the swamp suit from the deck, and you're also going to follow some additional instructions here. Every player is going to have a fox given to them, and then you are going to shuffle up the deck and deal a number of cards to each player depending upon how many players are in the game. Now let me go over what are on these cards. The ones are all going to be kale, and kale is at the bottom of the food chain here. A fox is able to eat owls and rabbits. Owls are able to eat rabbits, and rabbits are able to eat kale. Foxes and owls don't eat kale. They only eat rabbits, and foxes eat owls. The rabbit is the only thing that eats kale, and that's important to remember in this game as it is a food chain trick-taking game. Now, some of the other cards here, your 8s are going to be owls, and then everything between 7 and 2 are going to be some form of rabbit, such as a blue hare, or maybe an Arctic hare, or a black-tailed jackrabbit. Anyhow, they're all essentially the same, except their value on the top, which is important. And then your 2s and 3s, those are going to have a special ability down here at the bottom, which I'll come back to in here just 1 second. Now, how a round is going to work after everybody has their hand dealt to them, everybody is going to keep their cards secret from the other players, keeping them in your hand. And again, you do have a fox card in that mix as well. And the start player will declare what the leading suit is, declaring one of the 4 that are available, or, and again, in a 2 or 3 player game, one of the 3 suits that are available. And that player will say something like Arctic. Blue Arctic is the leading suit. Now, it's in players' best interests to play a blue card, but they don't have to necessarily do that. But if you don't follow the leading suit, then you are not going to be able to activate your card. What's going to happen? Players will all play 1 card face down out here in the playing area. And so you would have, let's say, a number of cards out here. Again, blue is being the lead suit here. And after everybody has played a card, then all cards are going to flip over. And you'll see who has the highest value. And it happens to be this 8 snowy owl. The 8 is going to go ahead of any of the other cards because we have 2 1s and a 3, an Arctic hare. And so 8 is the highest value. It activates first. Now again, owls eat rabbits. They don't eat kale. So let's take a look at some of the other cards that were played by the other players. We have 2 kales and we have an Arctic hare. The owl's not going to touch the kale, can't do anything with it, but it will eat this Arctic hare. So the player who played the 8 is going to be able to eat this card, which is going to give them 1 point at the end of the game. This is the whole idea, eating other players' cards. And now that that player has eaten this player's hare, they don't have a card left in the trick, so they they're not able to do anything for the rest of this round. And it would go to whatever cards are left. And in this case, each player has a 1 Kale out here. And when you play Kale that matches the leading suit, which in this case was the blue Arctic card, then you get to take your Kale back into your score pile. And Kale scores differently. You want try to get a set of 5 Kale in your scoring pile, as that will give you 9 points. But you can see how many points you get for however many Kale are in your score pile. Now, normally, hares, if the hare had stayed alive, hares would be able to eat another player's Kale, scoring that Kale in their scoring pile. The card you play never goes into your score pile. It always gets discarded, never to come back into your hand. Now, foxes are special. Foxes can be played on any hand, and they're going to activate first as they're a 9. And a fox can eat other owls and rabbits, but again, they don't eat Kale. But here's the catch with the fox. Anytime 2 or more foxes are played in the same trick, they cancel each other out, and they don't activate at all. They're just simply discarded. So you want to play your fox wisely when you think no one else is playing another fox. That's the gist of the game. If you don't play according to the suit, though, again, your card's not going to activate. You're just simply burning that card, and other players are not going to be able to eat that particular card. So, for instance, a hare normally would not be able to eat a Kale of a different color, because the theme here is if blue Arctic is the leading suit, then we're playing out this hand as something that happens in the Arctic. And this hare that lives in the Arctic is not able to eat the Kale that resides in the desert. That doesn't make sense. However, 2s and 3s have a special ability on them that allows them to eat Kale of any color. And so that is a way that you can still eat another player's Kale that has been played for that trick, even though it doesn't follow suit. So there's some special abilities on the cards that you do have to be aware of. You continue to play until somebody has 5 cards in their score pile, or until the hand is completely, all players are done with their cards in their hand, at which point you score your scoring piles. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner, and that is how you play F.O.R.K. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on F.O.R.K. from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, this is a simple trick-taking game. It's a card game. What was your impressions on this game?
It's very easy. It's very quick. I mean, a round lasts less than 10 minutes, I would
definitely,
say.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to learn. We even taught it to
my parents, which is saying something.
So I think it's a game that anybody can play. It's a good family game. It's a good one to have on your shelf. So yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be for the trick-taking fans out there, because I don't know that I've seen a trick-taking game that has this element of eating other players' cards and preventing them from being able to get something out of the trick. Like normally you have one person who wins the trick, and that's a point for them. And you want so many points, or maybe you don't want to win points, or you're bidding for points. This is something different. This is new. Where multiple people can get something in a hand, in a trick, but you're also keeping other people from getting things. I thought that was pretty unique. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought so too. I think it can be a little bit take that, depending on who you're playing with.
Yeah.
They may not appreciate it, because it's a very low scoring game. I mean, I think Lance got 3 points one round. And so if someone's taking the few points you can get, that's a little, hurtful.
Yeah, it can be, but like Sam already said, it's such a quick, fast game.
So you're going to get a retry.
Yeah,
it's not one and done. Yeah, you will continue to play it.
Yeah, you're not super invested in the one hand that you play. I mean, it's done and over with, and you're right on to the next one.
Yeah.
As the case is with a lot of trick-taking games, this is very much the same in that regard. A totally unique game here. I like the theme with it. It's, so often you don't really have a theme when it comes to card games, trick-taking games, and it feels like this one actually does have a theme, because you have the different landscapes or suits, and your animals can only eat other animals that are in that suit. And so you can't play a fox, or not a fox, an owl that's in the mountains and expect it to eat a rabbit that's in the desert. That doesn't make sense. And that's the case with this game as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a trick-taking fan. I know that's not something that is super high in your regard, but what overall experience did you have with this one?
Yeah, it was positive. I think because it's so simple and so quick, you don't really have a whole lot of, time to worry about it.
Yeah.
So it goes by quickly and you get to play it multiple times and everyone usually kind of gets a chance to win.
Yeah. One that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I think it was a great experience, a unique, different type of trick-taking game, and I'm always game for that. So it is F.O.R.K, F-O-R-K, and it is from Sunrise Game Studio. Make sure to check it out. It's on Kickstarter. Check out the link down below and leave us some comments.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.